Chicago has always been a city of extremes, towering ambition against biting cold, deep dish comfort alongside bare-knuckle hustle. But in 2024, that edge feels sharper than ever. More than 75,000 neighbors now live without a permanent roof. Violent crime may be edging down, yet carjackings and smash and grabs break records. Meanwhile, rent on a modest two-bed can swallow half a family's paycheck. How did America's second city become first in unsheltered misery? And can it pull itself back before the damage hardens into destiny? A decade ago, most Chicagoans thought homelessness happened somewhere else, beneath distant viaducts or in forgotten alleys. Today, blue and orange tents ring the loop, and makeshift villages sprawl under the Kennedy. A single night count in 2024 found roughly 76,000 people experiencing homelessness, half of them literally outdoors. The numbers ballooned once busloads of asylum seekers began arriving from the southern border, swelling already overstuffed shelters. With rental prices up 40% in 8 years and wages crawling only inches, many who once hovered on the brink have slipped right over it. But an encampment tells only part of the story. Step a block away, and a different menace starts to surface. Police logs show overall violent incidents dipped last year, yet the streets don't feel safer. Car theft now tops 20-year highs, and residents swap tips on how to Kia-proof their steering wheels. The old mega-gangs that police once tracked have shattered into smaller, unpredictable crews, turning conflicts into rolling lightning strikes rather than front-page turf wars. In some neighborhoods, the chance of becoming a crime victim hovers at 1 in 30, double the national risk. A generation of kids grows up counting gunshot lullabies instead of sheep, and every stolen catalytic converter feeds the belief that lawlessness has become routine. When fear shadows daily life, wallets slam shut, yet even that refuge is shrinking. Ask any working parent in Logan Square or Bronzeville what keeps them up at night, and you'll hear the same calculus. Rent, transit, groceries, repeat. The median Chicago home now lists around $600,000, and the average two-bed apartment rents for nearly $2,500. A CTA pass costs $125 a month. Parking downtown can run $500. Even the basics bite. Groceries sit roughly 10% above the national average. Households once comfortable tumble closer to the edge with every gas bill. Many juggle multiple jobs, yet can't stash a dime for emergencies, making one busted transmission the difference between stability and a sidewalk mat. Chicagoans facing those numbers have a right to ask, where exactly do our tax dollars go? The answer often echoes back with a single word: corruption. From the pre-prohibition City Hall for sale days to the modern pay-to-play scandals, Chicago has rarely escaped the shadow of graft. Federal prosecutors logged over 1,800 public corruption convictions here since the mid-70s, an American record. The most recent headlines feature a legendary alderman convicted on racketeering charges and an ex-House Speaker awaiting trial for alleged influence peddling. Experts peg the annual cost of Illinois corruption near a cool $1 billion, money that never builds a shelter bed, patches a pothole, or puts extra patrols on the beat. Every new indictment deepens cynicism, convincing residents that reform is just another committee flyer. And when faith in institutions cracks, poverty widens like a Lake Michigan cold front. Roughly 1 in 5 Chicagoans now lives below the poverty line, nearly double the national rate. In Englewood, Austin, and back of the yards, underfunded schools scramble for textbooks, while neighboring districts pilot robotics labs. Families juggle 2 or 3 gigs, yet still ration insulin or postpone dental work. Children in the city's poorest zip codes are twice as likely to develop chronic asthma and half as likely to finish college. Poverty here isn't merely a temporary setback. It's becoming generational cement, hardening with each rent hike and each after-school program slashed from the budget. With stakes this high, you'd expect quick, decisive action. Instead, every fix seems to stall at the starting line. Shelter funding flows from City Hall, mental health dollars from Cook County, and affordable housing grants from Springfield. Yet their databases barely talk. Paperwork mazes leave families toggling between offices for months. A voter-approved bond earmarked for new units sits mired in lawsuits. Neighbors sue to block modest four-story flats on vacant lots, citing parking fears. Police rank and file argue they need more officers, while reformers demand deeper oversight, resulting in half measures that satisfy neither camp. Bureaucracy isn't just slow. It can be lethal when winter winds whip through an underpass and the last outreach van is already full. Still, Chicago's story has never been solely one of decline. Glimmers of reinvention cut through the gloom, if the city chooses to scale them up. This fall, voters will weigh the Bring Chicago Home transfer tax proposal, promising a dedicated stream for housing and mental health projects. Tech nonprofits are piloting modular micro-lofts inside half-vacant loop towers, offering downtown shelter without months of construction delays. A new state task force has expanded RICO prosecutions against gang leaders, though civil rights lawyers warn the net may sweep too wide. And after years of debate, the mayor's office plans to merge fragmented databases into one real-time homelessness dashboard, aiming to cut red tape in half. Whether these embryonic steps become a march or a stumble will set the tone long past the next skyline sunset drone shot. From Navy Pier's fireworks to the shadowed viaducts beneath the Red Line, Chicago embodies both promise and peril. Tent cities stretch in places once crowded with Cubs fans. Security shutters clamp storefronts that used to blaze neon late into the night. Yet this is also the city that reversed a raging river, birthed modern blues, and rebuilt an entire downtown after ashes. So the question isn't whether Chicago can reinvent itself. It's whether leaders, businesses, and everyday residents will demand a strategy bold enough to match the crisis. Should first dollars chase mass affordable housing builds, mental health triage teams, or laser-targeted crime enforcement? Drop your priority in the comments. Your insight might steer the next budget vote, or at least remind City Hall that the city's heartbeat still comes from its people, not its balance sheets. One thing is certain: the Windy City can't afford more gusts of empty talk. The clock is ticking, the lake wines are turning colder, and the next chapter is being drafted right now, on every block, under every viaduct, and in every ballot booth. Which wind will carry Chicago forward? The chill of neglect or the surge of change? The choice, as always, begins with us.